All right then, guys. So thanks ever so much for joining us once again. Obviously, it's yet another chance for us to catch up with a Blues player, this time Blues Women's very own Claudia Walker. So, Claudia, thanks ever so much for taking the time out your day just to have a quick catch up with me and Tats. We've been checking in with players for the last few weeks, really. So just let us know how you've been getting on, how you're keeping fit at home, and how you're finding this whole weird scenario with a lockdown at the minute.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but I think the biggest difference is that we're doing a lot of training by ourselves. But it's part of the job, isn't it? So we've got to try and keep fit. If anything, it's a good window to try and increase our fitness, I think. So that's sort of my motivation at the minute. And a lot of the girls is, like, we've got to try and get as fit as possible. So then when we come back, we're still sharp and stuff, because obviously the view at the minute is to finish the league. And obviously this season we're not where we want to be. So I think it's give us a bit of time to actually, like, make sure that we come back in a good place so that we can kick on and get ourselves higher up the table.
In terms of the fitness aspect, how are you keeping sharp? Is it you got access to equipment at home, or are you making use of the garden, parks? How are you finding it?
Yeah, so for a pitch, I've been going down my park, but at the minute they've cut round the edge, but not the actual pitch. So, like, it's quite hard. I'm doing sprints, and it's like the grass is really long, but hopefully it'll just make me more powerful. But we'll see. And then me and my brother have actually bought quite a few bits of equipment. So there's some goalposts down there. So we bought a net and stuff so we can do some shooting. And then my neighbour across the road, George, I've robbed all his cones and poles. He's a coach, so I just literally went over in the garage and I was like, I need some stuff, please. I've just been using that, really.
Yeah, no, it's good. Tats, whenever we spoke to players, they were saying they've been ticking over and stuff, but interesting just to hear Claudia say that they've taken, almost in their mind, it's an opportunity to get even fitter now when hopefully football resumes in the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, definitely. I guess with the rest of us in lockdown, we're getting a little bit lazy, aren't we? But you can't afford to, can you, Claudia? I know. I think we spoke via WhatsApp yesterday. You were saying that now you actually want to, increase the workload, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think it is hard to get motivated, but I think I'm in that routine now. Like we have a day off, and I can't actually take the day off because I'm like, I need to be doing something. But I don't know if that's because I'm just sitting in the house all day. So, but no, I think a lot of the girls as well, like, especially with the sun, I think it helped us get out more and stuff and to do technical. I think it was a bit more difficult in the rain yesterday, but as soon as you're out there, you're all right. We play in the rain, so you got to train in it.
When you're out at local parks and stuff, do you get stopped at all? Because I know there have been cases and stories of some people, some players, that have sort of been pulled up for doing work.
No, you get a few stares and stuff, but it's my local park, so the majority of people down there are walking their dogs and stuff, and they're either from down my street or something, so it's all right. But no, but there is a few people down there doing other bits and bobs as well, like a few people doing running and stuff down there. I think people are trying to use it as a way to keep fit themselves, aren't they, now they've got time to.
Yeah.
Have you spoken to any of the other girls? How are they all finding it? How are they getting on as a group?
Yeah, I spoke to a few of them, and I've got a quiz planned tonight with a few of them I'm hosting. So I'll see how that goes. But now everyone's sort of in the same boat. Like, I think some people are getting a bit bored now because obviously there's not much to do, is there? I think our training program keeps us going, but I think a lot of people watching series and stuff on Netflix. But now they're all okay. We're just obviously waiting now to see if we're going to go back into training anytime soon.
What categories you got lined up for them? I hope it's not just general knowledge.
Now I've got a music round, a sport round, but I've only put 2 football questions because I thought that's cheating, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then just the normal general knowledge stuff like that. And then there's a logo thing, but it's timed. It's like the alphabet.
Okay.
For each logo.
Interesting. We'll see. You'd have to let us know how the girls get on. Who comes out on top?
Yeah.
Just looking at the amount of games, I mean, me and Tats were talking before, and you've still potentially got 9 games to play in the WSL. It's nearly half a season. So in your mind, does this season have to finish? Obviously, there's been cases lower down the pyramid where seasons have been, the campaigns have been null and voided. Do you think that we have to finish this campaign before you can start to move on?
I think that's a tough question because obviously the most important thing at the minute is, like, players' safety, fans' safety, our staff and stuff. So I think it's just a waiting game. All of us want to finish the season. Obviously, I think we've got the most games left because of having ones like abandoned because of weather and the pitch not being great. But I think obviously we want to finish them games. Like we want to play football. But I think the most important thing is making sure that we don't rush into it too soon. Like I don't want to see any teammates or anyone getting ill or something or getting the virus. Like, so I think obviously our view is that we do want to finish it, but I think it's just making sure that it's safe to do so.
Yeah, Tats, that seems to be where men's and women's teams are at the minute. Until there's further guidance from the government, it's a case of the waiting game and almost waiting for the next announcement as to when things can get back to normal.
Yeah, and I think we spoke with Scott Hogan, didn't we? It's going to be really strange if the go-ahead is given, and all the games are going to have to be sort of crammed in, and it's almost going to be like a mini tournament, isn't it? And I think the strange thing for you as well, Claudia, I mean, you were all preparing under a new head coach for an FA Cup quarter-final, weren't you? And then all of a sudden everything's been put on hold.
Yeah, I think we'd literally we'd finished our prep in training on the Friday, and then I think he had a phone call and then he come over just as we was like finishing up a few bits and bobs. So it is difficult, but obviously I'd love to finish the season like everyone else, but we just got to wait and see. And I think it's come at a weird time for us as a club because obviously we've just had a change in manager and we actually haven't had a competitive game with him.
Yeah, it will almost, I'd imagine, feel like a completely new start for everyone when you go back. Although you're in the middle of a season, you've got a new head coach in Charlie, and then you've still got 9 games to play to decide where we're going to be. It would be a bit strange, I imagine, if things do end up going back to playing games.
Yeah, it's I feel like I'm in pre-season because obviously we've got training to do and stuff. So I feel like at the moment I think it's just getting treated like a pre-season for then another mini season. Yeah, it's a bit like the spring series when we played like 2 games a week and stuff. I feel like that's what it's going to replicate.
What's Charlie done? Charlie Baxter done? What is there anything different to what Marta Tejador was doing? Is he added anything or taken anything away in particular?
I think if anything, he's just added to it. So obviously, Charlie as a coach has so much attention to detail and stuff. And I think obviously, when he was under Marta, I don't know if he could always like voice it. Because obviously, she's got a different style to him. So his is very hands-on, loads of information, and I think a lot of us crave that information. So I think that's the main change for me. Really, is just getting more attention to detail and specific tactics and stuff. So that's the best, really.
And will you be hoping that you'll get a little bit of a run up front? Because I know you've had to play in various positions this season, haven't you?
Yeah, I'd hope so. But it's just wherever I can benefit and help the team the most, really. I think obviously I want to play every game and as many minutes as I can, but we just got to see where we're at as a team, really, to make sure that we actually start winning games regular. That's the main thing, I think, at the moment.
I think it helps that obviously in Charlie you've got someone that you already know. It's not a completely new face with fresh ideas to come away from the existing philosophy. Like you say, you've worked with him before, so it should technically be a seamless transition. Yeah,
I think everyone's got their own relationship with the coach. So I think it's easier because we haven't really got to build that relationship before actually like gaining that trust and respect and stuff like that. It's already there. So I think it's just more of taking on board all his new ideas that he's got and trying things out, really.
Yeah, just looking at the WSL table, like you say, still all to play for with 9 games still to go as well. Is it just a case of taking each game as it comes when they do come back around and trying to pick up as many points as we can and score the goals that have been missing?
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking to do. Obviously, starting with that cup game when the change happened, was we just focus on one game at a time, and that training week, get the most out of it and make sure we're doing enough repetitions of the shooting or how we want to play, passages of play, stuff like that. So I think it'll come. I think as soon as we get 1 or 2 goals, I think they'll all start coming then. I think it's just that little bit of self-belief and confidence, I think, in front of the goal at the minute. But yeah, I think having each game as it comes is a better way to do it. Just look what's in front. Whereas if you're on about like, oh, this game in 2 games. You don't need to think about that yet. You just got to focus on the one that's coming up and make sure you give everything each game.
That's as we said, sorry, Tats, very young side as well, youngest in the league. As time goes on, these girls are going to be more experienced for this, and hopefully can learn a lot from not just the first half of the season, but a strong finish to the second as well.
Yeah, I think obviously the first part of the season's been a massive learning curve for us. So, but we've got to finish it strong now. Like, we're getting better at things. Like for set pieces, example, we're getting much stronger and better at them, at executing them, and obviously defending them. So I think the little changes, but they're things that like make a big difference on game day. So we just got to take that and make sure that if we do finish the rest of the season, we have a strong end to obviously put right what happened the first half.
Dale mentioned there, Claudia, obviously the team is the stats show that average age of the youngest in the whole division, and obviously several of the academy girls have made the step up and made debuts. How has that been for the group? I mean, on the one hand, yes, they haven't got the experience, but on the other hand, it shows that, you know, the club's in good hands. You've got some talent coming through.
Yeah, I think well, one key person to mention was Lily. So when she stepped up, I think you wouldn't know that she was like that young. So I think obviously the professionalism she showed and like the quality that she brought to the team shows that some players are ready to make that first team step and to be training with us all the time and obviously have their chance at playing. So yeah, it shows that the club's in a good place with obviously what we're bringing up in the academy.
Is that jump to the WSL? I mean, when you were a young player and making that jump, is it that big? Are the differences really marked?
I think there is a lot of differences in terms of like speed of play and stuff and your tactical, and I think there's a lot in like more like your mindset as a team, I think, as well, because obviously it's a bit more ruthless, isn't it? Because if you're not winning games in the WSL, you're going to get relegated, and it's such a competitive league. I think as well, the physical side of the game is the massive change, I'd say.
When you look at some of the results, has it just been frustrating that you've been in games? I'm just looking at them now, and there's not really score lines other than the Chelsea game that stood out, that you've been, you know, completely outshot in a match. So you've been there or thereabouts and just haven't quite nicked the points that you possibly deserved.
Yeah, I think that shows just like it's just that the end product we're missing now, I think. And obviously I do believe once we get 1 or 2 that they will keep flooding and it'll become natural, like it'll boost the confidence in the team. But there's a lot of games there that actually we should have won, that we've had more opportunities on goal or we've created the most chances, but we haven't put them away. So it just shows how ruthless the league is, but we're not far off from where we're wanting to be, and that can only be a positive, really.
Yeah, Tats, we've seen in both men and women's football how the fine details can sometimes decide matches, and it just seems that that's been the case. Just Blues women at the minute on the wrong end of some matches that could have gone either way.
Yeah.
And I think you've still got some really key fixtures to play, haven't you? Which a couple of wins can do yourself a power of good, even from that psychological standpoint.
Yeah, definitely. And I think obviously, I don't know what's going on with the cup games, but I think if we got through that round of the cup, that's a massive boost of confidence for the team as well.
Tell us a little bit about how you've settled in. I know you've been at the club now for over a year and a bit still. Initially joined on that loan spell. Does it feel like home?
Yeah, I think it did in my loan spell, to be honest. Like, it's such a great group of girls and stuff that I settled in pretty much straight away. I think it helped that knew a few faces and stuff before from like England camps and stuff. But no, I think being back at home as well, it helps. Like, it's my local team really in the women's side. So yeah, all settled and it's good. And I think also with all the new players coming in at the start of this season, like it's exactly the same atmosphere. Everyone's nice and positive, easy group to get along with. It's nice environment to be in.
Yeah, you mentioned knowing some of the girls from the England camps. You played at various youth levels for England as well. I suppose that has to still be an aspiration of yours to go and get senior call-ups and represent your country at the top level.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's aspiration really, isn't it? And I think obviously with the media and stuff promoting the women's game even more, I think it's even more of a motivation because it's in the news, it's everywhere to be seen all the time. So yeah, but I think the most important thing is get playing regular, get good performances, help the team get some wins, and then see what happens. Obviously, no one knows what the future holds.
It's interesting you mentioned there the media, Claudia. Obviously, with what's happening with Phil Neville, is women's players welcome? Do you welcome that scrutiny? It's almost now it's on a par like how the media scrutinise men's football. You know, the criticism there. You know, people aren't holding back anymore, and I guess that's something as a professional you're sort of having to deal with now as well.
Yeah, I think that is a massive change now. Now it is in the public eye line a lot more. You are going to get more negative backlash, but you're also going to inspire loads of children and stuff that actually probably didn't even know professional women's football existed, some of them. So I think you're always going to get those negative people or negative views or different perspectives that you might not agree with, but I think that's part of social media as a whole, really. So, but I think the most important thing is that there's a lot more children being inspired to play football, especially in the girls' game. And I think now, like, if you see any girl kids playing football in the park or something, obviously before all this coronavirus stuff, they've got women's team kits, they've got women's teams' names on the back. And I remember when I was a kid, I had David Beckham on the back of my shirt. Like, I wouldn't know a women's name to put on the shirt, whereas now you can buy them in the shops. It's there. So I think that's the most important thing. I think just inspiring young people to go out and enjoy it.
Obviously, you talk to players at other clubs as well. Do you think football clubs themselves are embracing women's teams? It just seems like now, even the move to the Trillion Trophy Training Centre, it just seems like everything's coming together as a collective under sort of the same banner of Birmingham City now. And is that sort of being replicated, do you think, across different clubs?
Yeah, I think mostly now the clubs are getting a lot more respect, I think. And I don't know if it is down to, like, obviously the media, that actually all the club are seeing what the women's game can do and what they're producing and stuff. Whereas I think before you'd have to, like, come down and watch it. Like, there's no way to watch it online. Like, you couldn't watch it as easily as we can do now. So I think yeah, the clubs are supporting it a lot more, and I think the majority of teams are training at the men's ground and having the support. And it's that other sport as well, like the nutritionist, stuff like that, or sports science, or using the gym facilities, stuff like that. I think it's all on the rise, and it's obviously bringing us up to par with the men, which is all we can ask for, really.
It's quite an interesting insight, Tats, into the infrastructure of women's football as well. We probably don't consider as much, but, you know, everything behind the scenes that all culminate to make it more of a professional outfit. Everyone just sees the end product 90 minutes of a weekend. But actually, with the introduction, as Claudia says, of the nutrition, the sports science side of things, the fitness aspect, it's all going to make the end product that bit better.
Yeah, definitely. It's part of to grow the game. And as Claudia says there, I think the biggest thing for me over the last few years, you see so many young girls now playing football, whereas I think there was a stigma attached to it previously, wasn't there? But now, not at all. And I think in another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, it will be very interesting to see the strength all round of the teams, and not just necessarily bringing in players from abroad. I think the game in this country will be very strong. But as you mentioned, it takes a buy-in from the men's professional clubs, as it were. And I think having the women at the same training ground, there's certain little things still to iron out, but I think that's a massive step forward for everyone.
Yeah, but it's all good stuff. Hopefully, when this all subsides and we can all get back to normality, we can end this season on a high. But Claudia, thanks for giving us a great insight and catching up with us.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks.
Really